we did demonize, we did insinuate that a particular subsection, a subculture, a culture of our community was taking money at $100 million, putting it into a suitcase and taking it to the Middle East or Somalia and giving it to El Shabaab. That's what we said. We had a hearing on it. We had a testifier, a whistleblower, who the legislative auditor had the hound dog down at the House to finally get him to talk. That other evidence that suggests that his conversation might be shaky, that he was extrapolating it from another person inside of DHS based on some anecdotal evidence that he's got. And then we all got up in arms with it. And then a particular community then had to kind of figure out what's going on. And why are they just talking about us? We have members of this body, members of this committee consistently use it. Consistently use it in their social media, talked about it. We actually have the media that was here in this committee hearing today that talked about it. It was poor journalism. And it was poor for us to do that. It is important that we find fraud if it's there. It is as important to me as anything that I do in this legislature is to do it. But it is poor, it is reckless, and it causes great pain and great division amongst our citizens when we point out a particular group and then come back and say, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if that's what it was and I didn't mean to do it. Well, Senator, you did it, and it's a problem. And Senator Abler, we're friends, and we work together, but we have to, not only do we got to call out fraud, but we got to make sure that we're responsible as senators and as legislators when we make those accusations. This was a much better place to say, it looks like there's more fraud. I have worked on this issue. I've worked on the legislation that Senator Janikowski is going to bring forward about the ratio of parents to parents that are staff in these child care centers. I've worked on that. There has been, have had great tension from other members and members of the committee. Commissioner Laurie was there to try to make sure that we do this the right way. But there is a right way to do it. I think this is an appropriate way for us to hash out, have this conversation, for us to comb through the data and figure out what is going on here, and to make sure that the children and their parents are getting the resources that they need to thrive. That's what we want to do here. And if someone is doing that, if someone's taking that money and they're not doing what they're supposed to, we need to track that down. If it's MA fraud, Medicaid fraud, if it's CCAP or any other program that we give here. But I do think it's unfortunate that we now sit here on this day, right, and we give a half-hearted apology to a community that has been suffering through the demonization. I'll tell you what, no one said to that white psychiatrist that took the money from us, hey, were you giving the money to the Ku Klux Klan? No one said that, right? Because that would be ludicrous.